everyone, it's always a pleasure to welcome you again on House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming right here from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. So now let's have a look at our headlines for today. BKSAP of the House held a bilateral meeting with the Iranian delegations on the sidelines of the 19th PYC conference, exploring opportunities for collaborations in the medical and tourism sectors. Indonesia and Mexico have enjoyed 72 years of diplomatic relations, and now both countries hope to strengthen the cooperations and gain more mutual benefit partnership. BKSAP visited Universitas Islam Indonesia to explore the potential for collaborations between the legislative and higher education institutions in addressing strategic global issues. In a significant development for Indonesia's tourism sector, the Ministry of Tourism and Commission 7 have reached an agreement to continue discussions on the tourism bill. A rising para badminton player from Indonesia made a stunning international debut by winning gold at the Six Faza Dubai Para Badminton International 2025. BKSAP of the House held a bilateral meeting with the Iranian delegations on the sidelines of the 19th Conference of PYC. The meeting discussed opportunities for collaborations between two countries, particularly in the medical sectors. Iran has opened opportunities for Indonesian students to receive scholarships in the medical sectors. Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House, Ravindra Erlangga, emphasized the House will actively promote these cooperations as Iran has potential in health technology. Iran is one of the pioneer countries in robotic surgery in the Middle East region, which has already been implemented in major hospitals in Tehran and Shiraz. Furthermore, Indonesia and Iran have agreed to strengthen tourism promotions in order to increase the number of tourist visits between the two countries.
Terkait dengan pertemuan delegasi Iran, mereka menyatakan bahwa mereka ingin sekali ada kolaborasi, terutama di bidang medis. Tadi ditawarkan juga apakah bisa ada kerjasama di bidang membangun rumah sakit, karena seperti yang disampaikan Pak Utut Adianto, Iran memiliki kapasitas di bidang medis, contohnya dalam robotic surgery yang tidak diketahui banyak orang. Itu mungkin highlight-nya, dan mereka ingin memberikan beasiswa, kemudian berharap ada turisme antar Indonesia dan Iran semakin meningkat. Mungkin saya harus koordinasi dan komunikasi ke Kemenkes. Kemarin tadi saya juga sampaikan saya harus berkomunikasi ke Kemenkes dulu terkait proposal kerjasama ini, dan menunggu resminya bagaimana tanggapan dari Kemenkes.
Additionally, Ravindra stated this collaboration will provide strategic benefits for both countries, while also strengthening the diplomatic ties between Indonesia and Iran, which have been established since 1950. Halim and Yoga, TVR Parliament Report. During a courtesy visit from the Deputy Ambassador of Mexico, BKSAP engaged in discussions to strengthen the bilateral relations between two countries. The meeting focused on exploring collaborations across economic, education, and cultural partnership. Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House, Bramantio Suwondo, stated promoting cultural cooperation would involve activities such as film screenings and students' exchange programs. He also mentioned there is significant potential to increase trade cooperations due to Indonesia trade surplus positions in 2024. In addition, both countries agreed to strengthen communications through the Indonesia-Mexico Parliamentary Friendship Group.
Salah satu poin yang disinggung tadi adalah cultural exchange bagaimana kita bisa exchange perfilman Indonesia ke Meksiko dan perfilman Meksiko juga ke Indonesia. Tadi Pak Wakil Dubes menyampaikan kemungkinan ada penayangan film-film Amerika Latin dan Meksiko di Spark, di Senayan Park. Kita pun juga berharap ada penayangan perfilman Indonesia. Jadi semakin banyak orang Meksiko juga paham kultur pop culture kita yang terbaru-baru ini. Barang-barangnya semakin masuk ke dalam pasar Meksiko. Menurut saya ini adalah opportunity yang baik, opportunity yang bagus, peluang untuk kita memperkuat APBN kita dan juga semakin memperkuat kondisi perekonomian di Indonesia ini.
Moreover, Bramantio hoped this cooperation will strengthen Indonesia-Mexico bilateral relations, which have been established since 1953. Not only between governments and parliaments, but also people-to-people cooperations, as well as business-to-business partnership. Andini and Gunarso, TVR Parliament Report. BKSAP held a public hearing with Universitas Islam Indonesia to collaborate in enhancing Indonesia diplomatic efforts. This includes strengthening Indonesia's role and participations in international organizations such as the OECD. Vice Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Bramantio Suwondo explained, OECD is an international organization comprising 38 democratic countries with market-based economies focused on developing policy standards to promote sustainable economic growth. Based on input from the academics, the central and regional governments need to strengthen derivative regulations to align with OECD standards.
Mereka juga ikut serta dalam memberikan pengkajian lebih mendalam tentang apa saja yang perlu kita adjust mengenai peraturan-peraturan yang ada di Indonesia ini. Secara undang-undang kita sudah mengikuti standar dari OECD, tapi perlu ada pengawasan yang lebih detail tentang turunannya. Jadi peraturan turunan seperti peraturan pemerintah, peraturan daerah dan sebagainya macamnya, agar implementasi dari semangat standar itu dijalankan dengan baik, sehingga waktu nanti melakukan diplomasi tingkatan bilateral maupun multilateral.
With Indonesia joining the OECD, it is expected to bring numerous benefits, including improved quality of governance, stronger institutions, and greater access to markets. Therefore, Bramantio encouraged other universities to also provide recommendation and policy briefs to BKSAP. This will ensure that policies adopted are aligned with the actual needs and interests of the public. From West Java, Bani, TVR Parliament reports. After the break, we bring you more updates, this time coming from Commission 7 of the House. Stay tuned to House News. Commission 7 emphasized the main reason behind revising the tourism law is to improve the quality of Indonesia's tourism sectors. The goal is to make tourism internationally competitive by enhancing standards, services, and infrastructure. Chairperson of Commission 7 of the House, Saleh Partawanan Daulay, said the government has submitted more than 1,000 lists of issues, including items that remain unchanged, modified, added, or deleted.
Kita berharap bahwa Undang-Undang Kepariwisataan ini dapat mengatur lebih baik lagi pengelolaan kepariwisataan di Indonesia. Dengan begitu, destinasi wisata kita diperbaiki, kemudian wisatawan domestik dan juga wisatawan luar negeri makin banyak yang berkunjung ke Indonesia, dan itu bisa berimpact luas, berdampak luas bagi tumbuhnya ekonomi kreatif, UMKM dan juga industri pariwisata makin bagus, dan tentu ini otomatis akan meningkatkan lapangan pekerjaan.
The tourism bill is targeted for completion this year. Vice Chairperson of Commission 7 of the House, Evita Nursanti, highlighted 4 key priority areas in the issues, including ecosystem, resilience, human resource development, institutional performance, and cultural potential.
Di dim awal antara pemerintah dan kita, komisi, bahwa pemerintah itu pada waktu itu menginikan 4 pilar mereka, kita tetap mempertahankan ekosistem. Nah sekarang udah frekuensinya udah sama. Pendidikan formal atau informal itu kan masyarakat. Kita ingin masyarakat kita ini dari kecil itu sudah dididik sadar wisata. Zamannya Pak Yop kan dulu ada sadar wisata ya. Bagaimana mereka menjaga kebersihan, menjaga lingkungan mereka.
Bani and Temi, TVR Parliament Report. The ad hoc committee has received the list of issues for the draft bill on airspace management. The committee emphasized the urgent need for a legal framework to protect Indonesia's airspace sovereignty. Vice Chairperson of the ad hoc committee on the airspace management, Juniko Siahaan, stated, Indonesia currently lacks specific regulations on airspace management. He explained beyond national defense and sovereignty, the bill would also regulate airspace utilizations for economic purposes. The drafting process will review legislation from other countries to ensure alignment with international laws.
Kami mengundang pihak Kementerian Pertahanan, juga pemerintah dalam hal ini Kementerian Perhubungan yang diwakili oleh Sekjen untuk hadir, untuk menemani Menteri Hukum menyampaikan sikap pemerintah, tapi nanti dalam pembahasannya kita akan mendengarkan bagaimana pengelolaan ruang udara ini akan kita atur sebaik mungkin supaya kita bisa menegakkan kedaulatan dan juga pemanfaatan secara ekonomi ya maupun untuk keamanan dan pertahanan di udara untuk menjaga kedaulatan negara Indonesia. Itulah yang menjadi awal. Nah, di beberapa negara yang lain undang-undang pengendalian ruang udara ini sudah umum dan dilaksanakan. Nanti kami juga akan rencana untuk mempelajari undang-undang di negara-negara yang lain supaya mempunyai kesamaan dan juga mengikuti aturan internasional.
Furthermore, Juniko pointed out the process will involve other ministries and include public participations to avoid overlapping regulations. The Airspace Management Bill is expected to make a significant contributions for Indonesia. Helmi Darmawan, TVA Parlemen reports. During a meeting with Central Java Police and the National Narcotics Agency, Commission 3 emphasized the need for strong synergy among government, private sectors, and community leaders to raise awareness about drug abuse among the young generations. Member of Commission 3 of the House, Lola Nelria Octavia, observed rehabilitation facilities are still limited, and criminal penalties for drug users often contribute to ongoing drug abuse in prisons. Therefore, she asked the government to implement tactical measures immediately to reduce the spread of new types of drugs.
Ya, memang kalau kami di Komisi 3 melihat pentingnya tempat rehab tersebut itu mesti diperbanyak lagi, tentunya kami akan support. Lalu memang sekarang ini kan kita memang ke arahnya itu adalah rehabilitasi ya, jadi tidak selalu harus di kriminal arahnya. Jadi karena memang pendekatan secara rehabilitasi itu kelihatan lebih efektif, sekaligus dengan rehab itu kita sekaligus juga bisa mensosialisasikan bahaya narkoba dan bagaimana narkoba serta jadinya nanti mengajak masyarakat untuk tidak segan atau malah tidak takut untuk melaporkan adanya anak-anak yang kena narkoba gitu.
Due to the limited budget for drug abuse awareness campaigns, Lola Nelria asked BNN and other stakeholders to utilize existing infrastructures to perform human-centered strategies in combating drugs abuse. Commission 3 remains committed to supporting government policies to eradicate drug crimes and prioritize rehabilitations for drug users. From Central Java, Anggun Oktarini, TVA Parlemen reports. And we're gonna have another short break. When we return, we bring you more updates on the world of sport. Stay tuned to House News. Indonesian badminton athletes successfully achieved gold medal in international championship in Dubai. Competing in the SL3 men's singles category, Muhammad Al Imran defeated world number 4 from India in a tight 3-game battle. Muhammad Al Imran, a para-badminton athlete from Indonesia, won a gold medal at the FASA Dubai Para Badminton International 2025. This is a very special achievement because it was his first time competing on the international stage. In the men's singles SL3 category, Imran defeated a more experienced player from India in a tough and exciting match. Imran plays in the SL3 class, which is for athletes with movement limitations in one leg. He started playing badminton as part of his physical recovery and to improve his fitness. Over time, his talent and hard work helped him grow stronger and better. He has since taken part in many national and now international tournaments. Before going to Dubai, Imran had just completed the classification process to compete in the SL3 category. Even though his preparation time was short, he showed amazing performance and determinations. Imran's victory is not only about winning a medal, but also overcoming challenges. His journey shows that with strong will and effort, big dreams can come true. This gold medal is only the beginning of Imran's journey. He is not focused on his next big goal, the Los Angeles 2028 Paralympic Games. Imran hopes to make Indonesia proud on the world stage. Canadian trail runner has won Britain's biggest ultramarathon while breastfeeding her 6-month-old baby at 8 stations along the 100-kilometer route. This has inspired runners and mothers worldwide with her determinations and strength. Stephanie Case, a runner from Canada, amazed many people during the Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100,000 race in North Wales. What made her story special wasn't just the 62-mile run she completed. It was that she did it while also breastfeeding her 6-month-old baby Pepper. During the race, Stephanie stopped at 3 aid stations to nurse her daughter. One touching moment came when she breastfed while eating and drinking to keep her energy up. She brought watermelon, energy gels and fluids to stay strong and maintain her milk supply. This was Stephanie's first race since giving birth and marked her return to competitive running after a 3-year break. During her time away, she focused on family life and adjusting to motherhood. Now, at 42 years old, Stephanie proves that being a mother doesn't mean giving up on personal dreams. Her story has inspired many, especially mothers who often struggle to find time for themselves. Beyond running, Stephanie is also a human rights lawyer, adding another inspiration to her story. She hopes her latest racing achievement will inspire new moms to do things that make them feel human again. A fun and colorful twist has arrived in the world of padel in Switzerland. The local padel community creates a unique glow-in-the-dark tournament called Ghost Padel Events. The concept is a collaboration between Rivella, the popular Swiss soft drink, and Padelta, a local padel community. Unlike regular padel matches, this tournament was held in a dimly lit court filled with neon lights. Players used glowing rackets and light-up balls, turning the game into something that felt more like a party than a traditional sports event. The result is a cool, modern vibe that's especially attractive to younger audiences. Ghost Padel event was not only fun for players, but also a visual treat for the crowd. The bright neon colors and glowing atmosphere made every match feel like a live show. It's no surprise that this tournament is gaining popularity among sport fans and creative communities in Switzerland. With the glow-in-the-dark concept, Padelta has found a creative way to make padel more exciting and accessible. The tournament gave people a new reason to try the sport, showing that athletic events can be fun, stylish, and out of the ordinary. This glowing tournament proved that sports can evolve with creativity. By mixing fitness with fun, events like Ghost Paddle can bring new energy to classic games and inspire more young people to get involved. And that information wraps up our house news for today. I'm Reni Menario and all the crew. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.